Hey.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another RepTales live stream.
All right.
Pushing too many buttons here.
Don't push the buttons, Mike.
Hey, at least you didn't shut down your own stream like I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
All right. Glad everybody could make it out tonight. This is Volume 3. Oops. I'll get rid of that, DD. All right. Get this muted. Okay. Oh, discombobulated tonight.
I feel it. It's been a long last couple days. I've been trying to haul butt to get everything around so I can manage to take 3 days off of work to be able to go to the Triple Crown.
Nice.
When do you leave?
Oh, that will be a lot of fun.
Early Thursday morning.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Luckily, it's only 4.5 hours away, so it's not too bad.
I was listening to Bob Steenfat's live stream, and I don't think he understood what the Triple Crown was, I guess, being so far out on the West Coast. He was talking about it like it was races, and I don't think he knew it was the Triple Crown of aquariums. And I couldn't get to my chat to tell him, like, I was just lurking. I was like, somebody will tell him.
Right. I know there is horse races that go on. It's called like an event called the Triple Crown too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what when everybody started talking about it, that's what I thought they were talking about too, was the horse races. So I made the same mistake, so I can't laugh too hard.
So who's our guest? I know, but
Tonight we have Brennen, Misfit, Reptiles, and Aquatics.
Hey.
Glad to have you tonight.
Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me up.
No problem. I think first thing we'll do is we'll go over our mission statement. We're a bunch of cold-blooded fish keepers. We've started this weekly live stream because it isn't always of interest on our fish channels to talk about our reptiles. We want to help people who are beginners or even considering entering the herpetology field. We want to accomplish this by having experienced guests to share their ideas and tips and tricks. We'll also be highlighting beginner reptile keepers to share their animals, questions, or concerns as well. So let's get started with this week's guest. So, Brennen, what's your passion, fish or reptiles?
Both. I have no love more love for one over the other personally. I've always grown up since I was a little small child with both reptiles and fish, and have grown connections to both over the years. I love them both equally.
Okay. You mentioned that you're just 4.5 hours from the Triple Crown event.
Yep.
It's coming up. So what state are you in? What general area?
Northern Ohio, about 15 minutes from Lake Erie.
Oh, okay. I asked because I wondered what local reptiles you have, what native things are there.
You see some corn snakes, you got some black snakes, your occasional cottonmouth that you don't really see anymore. You got turtles, snapping turtles, common, and alligator, and sometimes you get some Floridas around. We got some salamanders. We got painted turtles, box turtles, lots of different kinds of salamanders and newts and frogs and toads. Nice. For being so far up north, we got quite a bit going on.
Quite a bit. Yeah. Now, for fun, do you ever go herping?
As much as I can. I've pretty much seen what there is to see around here. over the last 20 or so years, so it's kind of hard for me to get excited about it per se. But if I see a snake crawling around, it's not going to stop me from going and checking it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
What are your collection laws there? I know in Tennessee we can't take anything out of nature, fish, nothing.
it depends on the situation and the animal. Like snapping turtles, I rehabilitate and hatch out snapping turtles quite a bit. Usually, there's a season that you're able to capture snapping turtles and eat them or whatever. In a lot of cases in my area, they catch pregnant females crawling across the road, and they'll kill it, and it's full of eggs. And I'll take them in and I'll hatch them all out, so on and so forth. But to be able to legally do that, you have to contact ODNR or Wildlife Services in your area to ask them and make sure it's all right. Because most of the time, if you do it right, you're going to hatch out anywhere from 20 to 50 babies, even more, depending on how big the animals are. So you're not going to be able to care for all of those long term. So you're going to have to release them back into the wild. So they have to know about that.
And where do you release them at?
Anywhere in the county, as long as it's not public or a public area or something like that. There's lots of private lands and stuff that I'm able to take them to that
Oh, cool.
they survive. So
That is so cool. Do you have any turtles that you keep?
not currently, no. Nope. I had 62 baby snappers
Dang.
about a year and a half, 2 years ago at this point. And that was the last turtles I had. I hatched out and released them.
Did you ever get bit?
No.
Wow.
Oh, not by snappers anyways.
What about like a reptile society or club? Do you have anything around?
Not really. But we do have a monthly reptile show that goes on at the community college at the end of every month.
Cool.
But that's the closest we get to anything like that that I know of.
Is it very big? Is there a lot of people who go to it?
There's 30 or 40 vendors usually.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
big.
Yeah.
It's all local people.
And breeders and.
Yep.
Is there
Breeders.
anything you can't sell in your state?
There's quite alligator. You can't have alligators without a license, and venomous without a license.
Okay.
You can't have any snake over 13 feet, technically, without a license. Beyond that, there's not really. They're a lot less strict than other states are.
Yeah. We got a lot of law. I'm in Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of laws. Like,
Only Oscars ask about your iguanas.
My iguanas. I have one iguana at this point. I had my green iguana, juvenile, stolen from me. Somebody busted into my shop and stole him from me, and I never got him back.
That
Good
sucks.
Lord.
Besides that, I have a adult red iguana. She is my sweetheart.
Oh, is she tame? Like tame?
Yeah,
where
puppy
you-
dog tame. I let my 3-year-old pet her and play with her, and
Oh my
she'll sit on the
God.
floor, and the iguana will crawl up over her lap and just kind of perch herself on her legs and sit there and let her pet her.
Wow. What size enclosure does she have?
8 foot by 6 foot by 4 foot, or it's 8 foot wide, 6 foot front to back, and 4 foot.
Wow, that's big. Is that inside your home?
No, it's at my shop.
Okay.
And
you
that
explain your-
segues. Sorry, Susie, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna have him explain his shop. What's in his
Go
shop?
ahead.
Where's
Go
that
ahead.
at?
Well, I own an aquarium maintenance, or aquarium and reptile maintenance business. I'm doing setup, maintenance, and acquisitions, finding fish and reptiles, setting everything up, maintaining it for you. And I have, it's not so much a shop as it is a small personal warehouse to keep all of my quarantine tanks and all of my big enclosures and stuff. Because I live in technically it's a double wide.
Okay.
But it's a newer one. It's got hardwood floors, but I've only got 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and a dining room, and it's kind of small, just enough for me and my daughter.
Okay.
And I'm not able to keep all that here at home.
No,
That,
that's
that
interesting.
begs the question, the inevitable question. But first, what's your drive time to Tennessee? Sounds
Drive
like-
time to Tennessee. Well, it's not. You're right to the left of me, so it can't be too far. I think the Clash is 6 hours away.
Are you going?
6 to 8 hours away. Yeah, I've already got my hotel booked and everything.
Nice.
That maintenance service sounds good. But my question is, doesn't it, is what's your favorite reptile?
Favorite reptile is reticulated python.
Which is bigger than 13 feet.
Yeah, yeah.
Why that guy?
I do have a large adult female golden child.
Wow.
I've had her since she was a neonate, which means a baby, about 3 weeks out of the egg. So
And what happens when it gets too big?
I get a license.
Oh, you can have it. You just need a license. Okay.
How old is she?
Or a permit. She is about 16.
Wow. How big is she now?
13 and a half.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Wow. I was watching, I think it was Brian Barczyk's setting up his enclosure for his.
Got a couple
reticulated.
20-footers, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's just gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
But when he sheds and cleaning out the enclosure, it just looks like one of the dirtiest jobs ever.
It does.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, they take some big old
rabbits
poops.
to feed his. Do you feed yours rabbits, or what do you feed yours?
Rabbits, natal pigs, guinea pigs, chickens. I give her a pretty good variety, but mostly guinea pigs.
Do you
Large
read
guinea
any
pigs.
of her food?
No. Nope. I don't have time for all that, and I don't want to deal with the stink either.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. That's a lot. I mean, it's, you know what's inside them and all that stuff, but you just added like 10 times more work to everything.
Yep. Just do your research and trust your sources.
Yep. So I'm gonna assume you have a freezer in your.
Yeah, I have a couple deep freezes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Have to, yeah.
I've always thought about getting a warehouse, or I would call it a storefront myself. Just to have
I call it my
everything
shop. I'm
set
like
up.
my workshop is
Yeah.
is what I mean by that.
Yeah, just to have everything all set up in one spot with everything, and oh my gosh, I think that would be amazing.
It makes it a lot easier, that's for sure. I'm able to. It helps me separate work from my personal life and personal hobbies. Because I mean, I have 21 tanks here at home. I don't want to come home and bust my ass and do it all again here at home. As soon as I
Right.
get home from a nice 10-hour day, you know.
Yeah.
So I try to separate it as much as I can.
I just want to change the subject here for just a second.
Yeah.
Terry, I'm so sorry about your wife. I'm sure you have everybody's love and support. So,
Oh no, so sorry, Terry.
Is he in the chat?
yeah, he's in there. Or he was. So,
So sorry, buddy.
Yeah. That's
get drunk, let it loose, and we're all here for you.
Definitely, for sure.
All right.
What other reptiles do you have, Brennen?
I have a couple ball pythons that I've been nursing back to health over the last several months. Besides that, I have a red tail boa, true red tail boa, and a pokeground red tail boa. It's the locality of the boa. And besides that, that's really all I got reptile-wise right now. I just haven't had the opportunity through my business or personal ambitions to be able to work with any right now.
right.
So, which is all right. It gives me time to focus on the animals that I have.
How many tanks do you service in your business?
Altogether, around a little over 70.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
Up until a week ago, that's what I did for a living.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's slow for this year. The first few years that I started, I was doing upwards of 200. Besides the couple hundred tanks that I had for myself. So it was a lot.
Susie, I know that's way too far for you to come and help me, but I keep telling you that lot right above me. You can squat on it. It's mine.
I was gonna say you provide the equipment and I'll ride my bike down.
There you go.
Do you do a lot of maintenance on reptile enclosures? And what do you do with them when you do maintenance?
Right now I don't have any reptile enclosure maintenance customers. But what I do, depending on the animal, change out the substrate, feed water, check up on mist systems and lighting, the whole shebang.
Do you have any bioactive enclosures?
No, not currently. I don't.
I like them because you're not changing out the substrate
I do too.
ever.
It just depends on the animal for me. If I had something more along the lines like a gecko or some frogs or something like that, I'd shoot for more bioactive.
Yeah, like the blue tongue skink.
It's-
It's only in like a 4 foot by 6 foot enclosure. So
When you're trying to make a bioactive enclosure for a 10+ foot snake,
Right.
I mean, they're crushing all your plants and ripping everything apart,
Right.
pushing everything up.
Right.
yep.
The bull
I
and the
see.
cat.
Bob's snakes, and I keep thinking when you say snakes, the snakes, but his are all juveniles, right, Bob?
Yeah,
They're gonna be getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
they are. Yeah, one ball python's almost a
Did you
adult.
grow your maintenance business by word of mouth, or did you advertise?
Partially. I like to do local advertisement. I have a couple billboards, and I also have a radio commercial that I play.
Do you ever
That's-
set up? Sorry.
What's that?
Do you ever set up as a vendor at the college show?
Nope. No, I go visit regularly though.
Okay.
See what they got. See if there's anything I'm interested in. I like to get my bugs from there. I can get a couple thousand crickets for a couple bucks. So it
Yeah.
makes it cheap.
Yeah, I just went to the reptile show around here, and I came home with crickets, mealworms, superworms, dubia roaches.
I also get my horned worms.
Yeah.
A lot of horned worms usually too.
Nice. All right. Have you ever had to rehome a reptile? And if so,
Yeah,
why?
quite a few times.
What happened?
Usually, a lot of people in my area know that I keep reptiles and I, rehabilitate and rehome. So they'll get a hold of me
Okay, that's the plan.
care for them. That's usually how I end up with a lot of like ball pythons and stuff like that.
How do you discern who? I'm gonna say it's because I don't want it to sound weird, but who's worthy of getting one of your reptiles once you've fixed them up and cared for them? How do you know you're not like turning them over to someone who's gonna do the same thing?
I kind of like I interview them a little bit. Nothing too intense. I'm not going to go do like a home visit or
Right,
something
right,
like
right.
that. But I'm going to make sure that your knowledge is up to par for what the animal is, and make sure that you're able to provide properly for them.
Kind of
Okay.
screen them. Yeah.
And is there any reptiles you suggest for beginners?
Yeah, leopard geckos are a good one. Bearded dragons seem to be tried and true. Ball pythons can be good. Corn snakes. There's quite a few different good beginner reptiles that I would suggest. Just depends on what you're into. I could use certain species of toads and frogs, even all sorts of stuff.
And how much electricity you're willing to put into the enclosure?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a big difference between some amphibians and then you're talking like a Euromastics with
hmm
like 130 degrees in there.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I say. Like, are you paying the electric bill? Okay, so here's what it's going to cost.
Yep. Yep.
That's cool.
What? I didn't make up these questions, by the way. We did it as a group, so I wish I was so smart to make up some of these, but they're good questions. I'm looking at our list. What reptiles do you feel shouldn't be in the hobby?
I like.
That's a tough question. None. If I'm going to be blunt about it, there's none I don't think should be in the hobby. But I do think, depending on the person's experience themselves, should kind of debate on what reptiles they should be able to keep, I kind of feel.
Okay.
If you're able to prove you're able to provide and care for those animals, why not? But if you don't, no. Like iguanas is a good example. A lot of people seem to think iguanas are a good starter animal because they're so cheap. but quickly they learn they're way in over their head.
Yeah.
And us
I have,
as a
I have
hobby.
a Chinese water dragon. That's about as close to an iguana as I could get. I couldn't handle an iguana.
Oh,
This
I love
guy's a big
iguanas.
pussycat.
It just depends on the one specifically. I'm very particular when it comes to pets for myself.
Right.
I spend a lot of time getting to know the animal's personality as an individual instead of, anything else.
Do you ever think about getting a tegu?
Yeah, used to have one. I had a white tegu for a long time.
Oh man, that's my dream pet. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I already got the enclosure started. It's 22 feet this way, 4 feet deep, and it goes all around the room.
Nice.
I'm ready. John says no.
It's when you just go get one and bring it home and tell them to shush.
Just don't open the door. Like, don't open the door, babe. Don't open the door.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, my dream snake is a Western hognose, and he does not want. And it's not the snake so much as he doesn't want the frozen mice. He doesn't want any of that part. The bugs are bad enough for him. I'm like,
Yeah.
Kind of liked it better when I didn't have to compromise.
It's when you get like one of those little mini fridges you can sneak in there somewhere. Just put like a cloth over it. Hey, that's just
right
a stand.
there.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
A big sign on it: "Do not enter unless you're prepared."
Padlock it.
Have you bred reptiles?
I've bred quite a few ball pythons and reticulated pythons over the years with my father.
Wow.
Cool.
And what did you do with the babies?
We either sold or kept quite a few of them.
Okay. I didn't know if
Once
you
my
had
father had
different
passed,
colors.
though, I had ended up rehoming a lot of the collection that we had because I wasn't able to take care of them all by myself. I was
Right.
17. So.
Oh wow, yeah. I think about that sometimes. Do you have animals now that you have to figure out what would happen in case of?
Yeah. Yep. And I have lots of friends now that are willing to help and are able to. So
Well,
I have plans set up if something was to happen.
okay, that's cool. That's a hard one for me because I got some people lined up. But when you're talking about a parrot who's going to outlive your kid going to college and everything else, you kind of have to like make sure like you really understand. With the tortoises, they're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And the cool thing, if my daughter's old enough by the time anything happens, I mean, she already know at this point, just from how she is now with animals, she'd be more than willing to care for anything that I got. So,
Oh, that is awesome.
she's a sweetheart.
I'm working on my granddaughter for that.
She begs me every day to hold this stinking ball python sitting next to me here.
Did you see what Lucky Smith said? Is this true? Hognose are frog eaters.
Yeah,
I have lots of frogs. I love my amphibians.
they'll eat frogs.
Really?
It's frogs, toads, yeah. It's usually quite abundant to them in their area or their natural habitat. It's
Have you
inhabited
ever
by the
been
same.
out collecting and collected stuff from the wild or no?
No. I take that back. I've caught a few corn snakes and stuff as a child, but that was it. Never really. I was always kind of against it in a way. So, if there's no need for you to take them out of the wild, no, leave them be. So.
Yeah. I think 2 of my Russian tortoises were wild caught before I understood the whole concept. And then I was able to a couple people surrendered them to me. And that's not the best tortoise to have because they're not community tortoises. So now I have individual enclosures for all of them. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Not the best tortoise to have a collection of.
I have. It's still with the breeder, but I did purchase a Indian star tortoise
Oh, beautiful.
Those are
for
nice.
my daughter.
Right.
He's still holding on to it and care for it right now until I'm a little more situated. It's already paid for. He's holding on to it for
Oh,
me.
that's
And,
beautiful.
yep.
Oh my
I'm
God. And
excited.
you'd be able to have them outside for at least 3 or 4 of the months from where you are, right? Yeah.
Yep. And they don't get much larger than a foot, so
Right.
they're real small.
Very personable. Very.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yep. She'll have them until after I die. I know that.
Yep. Well, that's awesome. That sounds exciting.
She's obsessed with tortoises and giraffes. And what else?
Well,
She really likes my snakes.
between tortoises and giraffes, it's probably better to get her a tortoise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to keep giraffes, are you, in the United States? Is there? There might be a state inside the United States that you're allowed to keep.
I think
So.
I think
There's a couple
Oh,
African
in
safaris
Texas.
here, and they both have one. And one
Oh, yeah.
there was a third a few years ago, but it burnt down.
yeah, I think there's at least one big place in Texas that has all kinds of stuff like that.
Ah.
Tennessee has an elephant retirement preserve kind of thing that's huge. I donate to that.
Oh.
So I'm sure there are giraffes somewhere too.
And Dee Dee asked, when you do maintenance on a customer's reptile enclosure, what do you do?
Well, it just depends on the animal, really. Change the substrate if I have to, water, feed, fix and maintain sprinkler systems and misting systems. Just anything.
So,
Anything when it comes to caring for a reptile, I'll do.
so when we're talking misting systems, you've worked with enough of them you can create one on your own, or do you need to get the basics from like a kit and then you can build off of that?
I can build them from my own. It just tends to be kind of a little more expensive the way I feel comfortable doing it. Because I use the same little nice fittings and plastic tubing that the kits use. So.
Okay. So if I had an irrigation system for the outside using tiny little nozzles, I could use that inside. I could just adapt it to something.
That's what most of them are, is gardening misting systems and stuff.
Oh. And what is usually used for the body of water?
Any kind of vat of water, usually.
So it doesn't have to be vacuum sealed, lidded, like I could use an actual aquarium?
No, because usually it's a electric pump or like a DC pump that's inside there that's pushing the water. So, yep.
Oh, I got some ideas now. They're spinning. Now, how do you keep, I got to keep asking with the misting, how do you keep from when you're misting away from the light bulbs? I have shattered many a light bulb because by accident, because I was hand misting, hit the light bulb and whoosh, then out comes everything.
Lots of different
out.
ways. I like to take, I have like little thin pieces of plexiglass, real clear plexiglass, and it comes with like 2 layers of plastic on the outside of it so you don't scratch it up. I leave that on there, and I'll just put that between the light and the enclosure.
Oh, and the UVB goes through that?
Yeah. Yep. You can even use like an old tank lid or something like that too, even if you want it. It'll go right through the glass.
Okay. I didn't know UVB went through glass, or maybe it's just it doesn't go through my windshield.
Well, those are usually tinted.
Okay, it's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm tired of cleaning out enclosures because I shattered another light bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Susie, you've never used hairspray, I see.
Huh?
You've never used hairspray, I see.
And
We remember our mother doing like this with her hand or some
Oh.
kind of device and spraying those beehives, you know. Protect the head, the face. What reptile, if any, Brennen, would you never have again?
interesting.
Well, there's really not a whole lot. I don't really care to keep frogs and stuff like that too much. They're cool, don't get me wrong. It's more hassle than what they're worth most of the time, it seems.
Huh. So in your warehouse, do you heat up the whole thing, or do you have individual heaters for everybody?
I heat the whole room, even this room here. I usually keep everything right about 85 degrees. And it keeps my tanks right about 80.
So do you still have heaters inside certain tanks or no? You just heat your
Certain
room?
tanks, yeah.
Okay.
Certain tanks I do.
Okay.
back up or whatever.
I never thought about doing that for the reptile room. I do that for the aquarium and my fish tank, my fish room. But in here, I guess because everybody has a different, like trying to get that gradient heat, but that can be done with the heat lamp. It doesn't have to be done with the light.
Yep.
Hmm.
Then even with like a lot of people keeping ball pythons, all of your big python breeders and stuff like that, they don't have heaters for each individual snake. You know how much that would cost for 4,000 heaters?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I
You
can't
know what I
keep
mean?
that
They
left
heat the
foot.
whole room.
Wow.
So
Wow is right. Yeah. So they don't need like the belly, like the bearded dragon needs the belly heat specifically to digest.
they need the ambient heat, yeah, but it's more important for them to be having the UVB light more than anything and a nice basking spot.
I gotcha.
They like to be able to go from one hot area and then go run over to the other side and cool off and kind of run back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your favorite enclosure to set up?
One I've built myself.
Ooh.
Cool. I'm thinking about building a 4x2x2. Probably a couple of them for my ball pythons.
There you go. Yeah, I just enjoy putting it together for one, and I'm able to kind of customize it to my exact liking.
Right.
Right.
Now, do you waterproof the inside of it?
Yeah.
What would you use to waterproof it with?
I've used a few different things. I've used I've been testing out stuff lately with Rhino liner, like the truck bedding, the waterproof and thick plastic truck lining, the spray-on stuff.
Yeah.
I've been working on testing some stuff out with that. I need to get a piece of it sent in to get it tested for toxicity.
Oh, right. 'cause you don't know if it
To make
leaks.
sure it's not going to harm any of the animals over a long period of time or anything like that. But I've also used stuff like pond liner, and that works really well too. Just depending on the animal and how much they're going to scratch it up, though, you're going to have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
I want to ask an opinion question, and you may not know since you build your own enclosures, but you know, like just what I'm talking about, like the ReptiZoo and those kind of chameleon enclosures. Well, my chameleon has outgrown his original one, and I have him one about twice that size. I'm having a little trouble getting it together, but I will. Do you think it would be okay to put, like I've got an African green bush snake, and they're long and skinny, and like a black mamba or a green mamba. They mock them and have the black males. You probably know.
Yep.
But I'd like to put him in it to give him another foot and a half of climbing area. He hasn't. He tries to get out, but it's when he's hungry, so I feed him then. But for sure. But do you think that could withstand a 4
Is it one of those screen enclosures?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're screen enclosures.
Yeah, I think it would do okay with them. I would just kind of check the screws and stuff on the corners of the enclosure to make sure that they're nice and tight. You know what I mean? Besides that, I don't think they'd be able to get out. No.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I've asked people before, and it kind of goes quiet, because I think it's kind of non-traditional, and but he really wants more room. I've got a 33 I could set up like that, but I want to put my corn snakes in there, so 33 long gallon. So
Especially if they're already in a room that has humidity, so that you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do all snakes have the same humidity or
No.
individual?
Nope. A lot of them are similar,
All right.
but not all are going to
Okay.
be kept at the same range.
Do you have any reptiles that are community reptiles?
Not currently. But I used to have a bunch of morning geckos that I kept
love
together.
the geckos, yes. I had them in with my poison dart frogs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a fun enclosure to build, like you said, because you got the waterfall going here, you got your wet stuff, you got your dry stuff.
Right.
Frogs and geckos everywhere, plus tubia roaches, and I had like all different stuff going on in that. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do reptiles like I'm thinking of like snakes especially? Do they need like a a couple months during the winter where they're kept cooler, or you just keep them like the same temperature all year round?
It depends if you're trying to breed them or not. If you're trying to breed them, yeah, you're gonna want to try to figure out a way how to fluctuate that temperature during certain points of the year to initiate spawning. But it really just depends on the species. But most of your ball pythons and stuff like that can be kept at the same temperature year round. Yeah. Most people aren't trying to breed them, so yeah.
Have you ever bought reptiles online? Or
Yeah. Yep, that's how I got that Indian star tortoise.
oh, nice.
Through gosh. Why can't I think of the name off the top of my head here? It's kind of like Get Gills, but for reptiles.
There is one?
Underground? Oh, no, not like that.
What is
No,
it?
Underground's not like that, I suppose.
No.
No.
God.
Is it something about morphs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Morph Market.
Yeah. That's it.
Yep, Morph Market is the place.
Nice. I didn't know that. I'll be on there as soon as we're finished.
Oh yeah, they have anything
we're all-
from snakes,
we're in
lizards,
trouble now.
geckos. They have about 40 different species of snakes, all the way up. They even have a venomous section. So if you have a license to keep venomous, you can order online and all sorts of shit.
Yeah. Wow. No, I'm good, Susie. I got those 3 at the show last weekend with Ed, so I'm good.
Yeah. Not me. I need to scratch an itch here. I got all like food from all my guys. I went to the reptile show and saw these amazing reptiles. It's like, oh, man. But I kind of work backwards. I make sure I have the enclosure all set up first. And right now I'm in the middle of like redoing the room, so nothing's set up anywhere. I don't even have a setup for my own bearded dragon over there, so I'm trying to hold off.
Cool.
Not easy.
Yeah. And BJ Palmer says you keep all the frogs for you, Misfit.
Some I like. I really like keeping the glass frogs. Those were really cool.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other species of frogs that I enjoyed keeping, but for the most part, any other species that I've kept, like Pac-Man frogs and stuff like that.
No. The barking river frog. I love the sound they make at
Those are
night.
cute.
Like, oh my gosh.
I really want a desert rain frog.
Oh.
Those are really cool. Cute as hell.
Yeah.
Mind keeping one of those.
I love the sound. All the different sounds.
I'm gonna get some dart frogs. I kept a lot of years ago. Of course, there wasn't any information or YouTube or anything out there, so it didn't end well. But I do want to get some more dart frogs.
They're not too hard, Jason. Not too hard at all, as long as you just make sure you have everything they need.
Can you get into detail? Because we got that question in the chat as well.
Get into what?
Depths unknown. Like, what is it that they would need?
Usually bioactive enclosure. You're going to need for poison dart frogs, a water source. You're going to need to make sure you get the proper diet for them. Lighting, UVB. You're heating the closure properly. That's about the basics you're going to need to keep them guys alive.
Now, I know they eat those little flightless fruit flies. Is there other things that they eat besides?
Yeah, you can feed them. If you can get them used to you enough, which usually they can get pretty personable. You can feed them like mealworms. You can feed them like the canna soldier flies from ZooMed, all sorts of different stuff.
You want to hear a funny story about soldier flies? Yeah, I got these little soldier fly bugs. Thought that was how great was that? And apparently my leopard gecko didn't eat them, and all of a sudden I had these little tiny flies flying around inside her enclosure. I was like, oh no. I had to take the whole thing outside, open it, and let them all loose. I was like, oh my God. Note to self: don't give her those larvae. Have you ever gotten your food out and gotten in trouble, or?
I had a cage of mice get out.
Oh my God!
Oh,
But
no.
like it was here in this room, and before I put all these tanks here, I ripped up the carpet and took silicone against every crack and nook and cranny on the floor and everything, so they couldn't get out.
Okay.
So I eventually found them all.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I kind of let a few crickets out on purpose the other day. I've had a handicapped leopard gecko that got out. I don't know how he got out, not in his enclosure. So I'm just letting crickets go now, just in case he's around somewhere.
Those little guys are funny. You just see them scurrying across the floor. They'll leave a poop in front of somewhere in the middle of the night, and you wake up and find it. Like,
I'm looking for a clue. Yep.
oh yeah.
I still have an African black house snake loose in the house somewhere. I've seen it twice, but he's so stinking fast. I think he's going under a baseboard, but I'll get him eventually. I got a female this past weekend, hoping, whatever,
Draw him out or something.
I know he'll gets water out of the fish tanks where he was near. But talking about things getting out, a day or two ago, I'm preparing some food, doing something in the kitchen, and I've something out of the corner of my eye, and it's like a 3-inch Vivio roach. And I had fed them and left the lid off, and it's my original colony. I don't feed them to the reptiles. I fell in love with them. They're so cute. They're ugly. They're cute. So that's what it was, like the oldest ones. And I just picked him up and put him back, of course. But you have that initial reaction to swat it, a huge bug.
Right. Now, my animals don't get out usually, but I let them out frequently.
Okay.
My big retic, I'll let my iguana out. They just kind of roam, do their own thing.
You just open the door and let them.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's so cool.
You don't have cats and dogs, I bet.
I have 2 dogs, but they're not around them. So.
Right.
I don't know what I'd have to do because all my things are stacked on top of each other. I'd have to put a little ladder.
You get a long enough snake, you don't even got to worry about it.
Yeah, I've never even held a snake. Never even held
What?
a snake in my life.
You got all these reptiles, and you've never held a snake? What?
No, and I want a Western hognose. And I'm in Pennsylvania, so I don't even need a license for one.
There you go.
But I think I would have to learn how to hold them, how to go.
They're not too hard. Just supporting the weight of their body.
Yeah.
It's so cool, Susie. I've got a couple of the ball python. Well, you've seen them. They love to just sit around my neck and they squeeze. It's almost like a massage. Some of them. They're cool.
Mm-hmm.
So soft.
Someday. I just gotta work on John Bag of Donuts.
Well, when y'all move up the hill here, you can just run over here.
That's right. That's right.
Any questions in the chat? I haven't even been watching it.
I haven't seen any.
Dee Dee said this is getting freaky. She's talking about touching the snakes, probably.
What was getting freaky?
This. Talking about touching snakes, probably. Uh-oh. It got freaky then, Dee Dee.
Lucky says, my wife has a snake phobia and I cannot own a snake. I would love to sneak a snake into the house and tell her it's a lizard enclosure.
There you go. Get you a legless lizard.
Right.
Yes, that was at the show. That was at the...
They're so cool, and there's so many different species of them.
Really?
Yeah, there's a couple hundred different species of legless lizards found all across the world.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought there was just a couple of them.
No, almost every continent in the world has a species or 2 of them, it seems.
Wow.
I know Australia has some, Africa has some, like Eastern Europe, Asia. We have them here. So, yeah.
I don't know what kind they were, but they had them at Repticon this past weekend, too. Super cool.
Thank you.
Oh, I see that Bunny explained why poison dart frogs are not toxic. They are not toxic in captivity.
Yep.
That is correct.
Unless you feed them the toxic things.
Right. Right.
Sports fishing circles.
No legless lizards and millipedes too. Dang.
Wow. Well, you know, my family, most of my family, my sister's so terrified of snakes, she doesn't come in anymore. If we're going somewhere, I have to meet her out in the garage or in the driveway. Or
Really? Well, you have one loose in your house.
yeah, but before that, but when I told her
Oh.
that, she's like, "You got to meet me at the mailbox now."
My mom eventually got over her fear of snakes after I tortured her with them enough. All
Yeah.
throughout my childhood, bringing snakes randomly in the house and scaring her with them, and
Yeah.
I've never been afraid of snakes, but my kids had just about everything you could imagine, but I would not allow them to have spiders or scorpions.
one
That's
that
what
got
drew
made
on.
my mom a bit squeamish was me bringing home an American alligator.
Oh no.
They're illegal as hell to have here, without
Really?
a permit and everything. Oh yeah, they're legal. Where I'm at, and
What kind of pond or
my
enclosure would you
buddy,
need for that?
full grown, multi-thousand-gallon pond probably.
At least, right? Well, I have a 2,000-gallon pond, and I do not think it would be big enough for an alligator.
Want to give them some nice, comfortable room, yeah.
Yeah. And then, what do you let them eat the chickens that are roaming the yard? Like
Something. But I had, her name was Darla. My buddy moved, and I ended up taking her because, I mean, I knew what it was and how illegal it was, and I wanted to do something right with it. So I took her and kind of made sure she was all right. Fed her good for a while, and then I forfeited her to the Toledo Zoo.
oh, that's pretty cool. I can't even imagine forfeiting something to a zoo. That's pretty cool.
I'm trying to surrender my two pacu. They're 14, 15 inches now to the Tennessee Aquarium. We'll see.
Yeah.
If not, I've got to get them a pond and soon.
So pacu, that's like a family in the piranha family, like a big round. It's like silver dollar. Like, is that a pacu?
Yeah.
Yep.
These guys are albino and they're big puppy. I hand feed them. They're not like piranhas. I mean, their temperament and their teeth and unpredictability and
Yeah.
they know. I fed them since they were silver dollar size. They're that way big now.
And what size enclosure would two pacu be in normally if you had a fish tank? Like 500 gallon?
At least, I would think more than that. 1,000 would be a good start for 14 inchers.
Okay.
I've got them in a 180, and they needed to come out of there probably this past winter.
Oh wow!
I've
Okay.
been trying that long to get them somewhere, but if I need to, I'll just buy them a nice swimming pool.
What about Ohio Fish Rescue?
I haven't asked Rich, but the Chattanooga Zoo is 30 minutes from me, so I'm hoping Ethan, that owns one of the Fish Mania, he raises baby sharks for them in his shop, so he has a connection there, so he's working on it, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, they're going to break that 180. Sometimes they get rowdy and they hit the sides, and of course they don't care. It doesn't hurt them at all.
Right.
Right.
They're going to break it.
Oh, cool.
What about, we were talking about like the fears people have of reptiles, and that might be something to talk about for a minute. I mean,
Yeah.
are people afraid to touch them? People used to think snakes were slimy, but I think everybody knows they're not now. But
Most people seem to have a good idea compared to what they used to be. Well, snakes were demonized for eons.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of just break it out.
Yeah.
Expect people to just change on that. So
Yeah,
you're gonna have
it's
some
not-
people that are.
And some it's like associated with evil, not just
Yeah.
like people, but they're evil. It's like,
that's what it is for my sister and her daughter. My niece killed a big king snake, and I'm like, oh my God, that kept all your copperheads and stuff,
yeah.
and all those things away. Rattlesnakes, you should have left that alone. That was a blessing, not evil.
Yeah. How do you change that? How do you change people's perceptions? Like as a community, is there what stuff that we could do to help change that perception?
Well, most of the time, it's a case of being misinformed.
Yeah.
So to properly inform them and educate them is going to probably be the biggest help.
Right.
that's a good thing we could work on this channel since we're just starting out.
Yeah.
About education. So.
I like that.
Something that I'm doing next week is gonna order a jumping spider.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Said no one ever. No, I'm just kidding.
There's some really cool ones out there. Like the
Yeah, there
peacock jumping spider. It's all blue. It's got a bunch of blues and reds. Oh, it's pretty.
A lot of people, I think, are afraid to get bitten by a bug or stung. Or I've only been bit once now in almost 4 years, and it was my fault. I was doing on somebody's live stream and not paying attention, and the ball python that's 4 feet now was just maybe 2 feet of that. And I thought, instantly, oh, I can't see my hand in the mouse, and then I felt it hit my finger, but it scared him to death, poor baby. He was gone before I even could look, but it bled real good. It bled real good, so it was a great show, for the
YouTube thumbnail.
yeah. It was Catfish Terry. He worked it, did shorts and stuff.
Okay.
I had to tell people, no, it didn't hurt, and he let go. He was, in shed, he couldn't see, and he smelled the mouse. So
See, if I was going
Just
to
like
tell
getting
anybody
bit from
about
any
a
animal.
macaw, they should be afraid, very afraid. I think
Just
it's snap
bite-
your bone.
Yeah, and then just getting bit from any animal.
Yep.
You should always disinfect it anyways. So.
Yep.
my little diabetic lancet things that stick hurt a lot worse than his little teeth
I
did.
gotten hit by a blood python once, and that was not pretty.
Really?
And those one of the few big snakes that have the potential to break bones in your hand just from
Oh
the
my.
impact of their strike.
Oh my! What kind of snake was that? You
It's a
said?
blood python.
Yeah.
They got some serious force behind him.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I bet that hurt.
And he got some nice teeth too.
How did you let go? Did you have to do anything?
Well, it latched onto me for a good 20 minutes.
And you just let him, like you didn't try the
Yeah,
ice
I just let
cube
him
or the
go.
water?
I
Okay.
put him underneath some water real quick. That was about
Yeah, the
it.
water.
But he didn't let go.
Some people say to bend their tails gently or to just
Yeah. Big snakes especially. You get bit and they latch and start coiling on you. Grab a hold of their tail and give it a chomp.
and chomp
No
on it.
way.
Yeah,
Yep.
it'll let go. Yeah, it's one of the most sensitive spots on their body.
So if a snake is biting you, just bite it back.
Yeah.
Love it. I did that with my children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had to work with quite a few rowdy reticulated pythons and stuff that they'd like bite my boot and wrap my leg, and then really start cutting the circulation off my leg and stuff. And yeah, I've had to get out of that a few times.
That's
Very-
a whole different ball
People-
game than a ball python.
yeah.
Snakes have this big long hook.
Yeah.
Does that actually help?
Yeah, especially if you're working with venomous animals and stuff, and you don't want to get bit, and you're
Right.
just trying to move stuff around. Yeah, if
Okay.
you're working for any bigger snake or especially venomous, always have a hook.
Well, hognose is venomous, but they say they don't usually bite; they just pretend to, right?
Yeah, well, they're rear fanged venomous, so their teeth aren't up in the front; it's in the back of their jaw.
Oh.
And when they bite, they actually have to like gnaw on you. Because instead of just like the needle like
bag of donuts not
Yeah.
listening.
instead of the needle like teeth, they have more of a groove that goes
Okay.
up into the gland, so they have to chomp on it and kind of squeeze it out. Unlike the other ones where they're injecting
Right.
it into you.
So of all the venomous, that would be the best venomous snake to start with.
Yeah, yeah, very mild venom. More
Say,
cool.
when a
How can
hog
you talk
goes-
about the best venomous?
Because every venom is different. There's some that'll kill you in 2 hours, and there's some that'll kill you in 30 seconds.
And there's some that just would never affect you.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
every
those
once
are
in a while-
most
every
related
once
to
in a while
like a
you hear
bee
about
sting.
I have heard about snake keepers being killed by their venomous snakes before.
Yeah.
Oh
It
yeah.
can happen.
Yep.
All it takes is one slip up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, aside from that college, do you go to any of the shows?
I haven't in the last few years since opening up my business.
Okay.
I haven't had time to.
Right. It'd be different if
But
you were
before that, I
breeding.
used to go to any show, a reptile show, fish show I could.
Right. Are you guys planning on going to any shows anytime soon?
Just the Triple Crown next week and the Clash.
I can't wait for the Clash.
Yeah, that's all I got planned for this year. Next year, though, I'm definitely going to Fishtoberfest.
Is that out in West?
Yeah, Portland.
Oh, that's West. Can't get any more West than that, right? Dang.
Well, if you drive, you should stop and see Dan on your way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I see here there's a couple of shows nearby me. On Sunday, July 24th, is Mid Hudson Expo, and that's in Poughkeepsie, New York, if anybody's interested.
It's a good drive for me.
Yeah, Maryland is having a show on, I want to say it's August 13th, and that's in Havre de Grace. They're having a show. I know White Plains, New York has one every other month. So I don't think this is their month. And if you're out in California, there's one coming up, Reptile Show, and it's out in Pomona, California. Am I saying that right?
I don't know.
I don't know too much about California, but that's August 13th. So those are some upcoming reptile shows. I'm really interested in getting to know different breeders of the reptile shows, because I'm not sure how you're supposed to start to understand who's reputable and who's not. Like, how do you get to know that?
I mean, usually by the quality of their animals and their reputation.
Yeah. And I had an incident with one of my new reptiles. I'm sorry to say. Are you familiar, Brennen, with sandfish skinks? I'd never heard of it either, but they're pretty rare. I mean, you can find them.
Sandfish. Yeah, they're
Sandfish.
subterranean desert lizard.
They
skink.
like it 125 to 150 during the day.
Yep.
Anyway, I had to call the people I got mine from, and they were very helpful and very nice about it. So I always keep cards, and I can make notes on them and that kind of thing. So, there's also a show in Atlanta, the big Repticon. They have them all the time too. You know? Yeah, it's in Atlanta this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, I can guarantee you there's no upcoming shows in Wyoming.
Oh no, I'm not giving up the Triple Crown for a reptile show that I go to every month anyways. So
Right. No,
skipping it this month.
Yeah.
Dad and I've been a part of the fish fam community here for going on 4.5 years.
Awesome.
And I've never met any of you. So
Yeah, I look forward to the Clash.
it's about time.
If you come to the hospitality room, I heard there's somebody amazing putting on the hospitality room.
Oh yeah, I'll probably spend most of my time there.
Yeah. Nice.
What's our time looking like?
We got 1 minute left.
Wow, this was great, Brandon. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Awesome information. I've learned a lot, I'll tell you that.
Of course, I'm an open book. Anybody ever needs help with anything reptile or fish, even, just let me know. I'll share whatever I have.
Thank you.
Is there a reptile that you think is very hard to keep?
Yeah. Quite a few actually. Iguanas can be pretty challenging. Large snakes can be pretty challenging. There's, they call it the dragon lizard. I can't remember the scientific name of it, but it's kind of like a grayish black, and it's got looks like a little mini Godzilla sort of thing. And those are extremely difficult to keep the right humidity and temperature down. There's also another one. It's called the dragon snake. That's another one that's extremely sensitive and extremely temperamental. Yeah, there's quite a few.
I'm still at the beginner stage, not even 4 years, so I'm sticking to the things that I kind of wish I hadn't gotten the green bush snake, because it will only eat anoles or little frogs and stuff, and I get attached to the anoles, but I can't let my bush snake starve. So.
Right, I had a Asian vine snake for a good long while, but he was the meanest damn snake I've ever met.
My.
Really?
Oh my!
Oh man, this thing was. I had to wear a sweatshirt or like my Carhartt or something with a pair of gloves just to get my arm in there to clean his enclosure. It doesn't matter if I just open it up. He would try to come to the front of the cage to nail me. There's a couple times he got me right in the neck.
Oh my!
And after that, I'd start putting my head around the side of the enclosure and reaching my arm around, covered,
Oh, wow.
clean it all out. I could not. The entire 2.5 years I had him, I could never bring him out of his enclosure even one time. Because every time I tried to get a hold of him or anything, he'd wrap himself around all the wood and stuff that I had in there, and he'd pull everything out along with it. So that, and I just, he was pretty, he was cool.
John Bag of Donuts
but
that at all. Oh
after the
God.
15th or 16th headache I got from him biting me, I was done, because they are mildly venomous. They're rear fang, just like hog noses are.
So he kind of like gnawed on you a little bit.
Oh yeah, right on my neck.
Can't get those words out of my head. But they got to gnaw on you a little bit.
Yeah, he got me on my hand a few times, my arm, but the worst ones was when he got me on the neck, because veins are right there. So
I may just take him off of my long list. I've been thinking about it.
some of them can be sweethearts, but that one was feistier than hell.
Yeah. My bush snake's real sweet, so I might stick with him.
Yeah. I was thinking about gardener snakes because they're a community snake, right?
What's
Like
that?
Gardener snakes, you can have 3 or 4, and they're live bearers, right?
Yep.
That would be kind of fun to watch.
They're pretty cool to play
Garcia
with and hang out
Aquatics
with.
is saying, you guys know that this is a great stream, right? Yeah. Thank you very much, Brandon, Misfit.
Yes. I guess.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming up, Brennen.
Of course. Glad to be here.
Thanks everybody in chat, lurkers, replay crew, everybody over on Facebook. Love all you guys. And next week we will have Wally Kern, Supreme Gecko.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. So
You're the cod father. He's the pod father.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah. So we should be able to learn all about isopods next week.
Yeah. Isopods and geckos.
So it's
Stuff to
gonna be a
learn.
lot of fun. So hope everybody can make it back next week. Yes, we'll call this one good. It was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of information out there, so appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Love you. We'll see you next week.
Great guest and great host. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.